In my previous video talking about characters that severely need a rework, I gave a short mention to Luigi, and after doing so, for some reason I felt the compulsion to make a standalone video on the guy, because Luigi's Smash Ultimate version may be one of the most confounding ever in the history of the franchise, that it beggars belief anyone would have signed off on it. It appears Mario's younger brother has a knack for being the goofier of the two in every media depiction you can find him in, and Smash is no exception. He's been typically one of the more polarizing opponents to deal with, even dating all the way back to Melee, and has since become known for having a similar premise to Mario, only pushed to the absolute extreme, more often than not for all the wrong reasons. Smash Ultimate's no stranger to freaks of nature, destroying your entire soul through some semblance of cheese or unfair mechanic. But despite being nowhere close to top tier or even in contention for top tier, he's made a name for himself as quite possibly one of the most dangerous mid-tiers to fight in the entire game, instilling more fear, rage, and confusion in players than his brother, who over the past two games was seen as the more consistent and viable of the two.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
No, I like just dude.
What?
What the fuck?
For today, we're going to be talking about why everyone hates Luigi, covering the aspects of him that drive us over the edge, and discussing if he might actually be deserving of top tier status, notably with Vars supplanting Elegant as the best Luigi player to ever exist. Before the rise of Fighters Pass 2 bringing with them the entourage of extreme characters, Luigi had the distinct honor of being one of the most aggravating characters to deal with in bracket, and it's all thanks to one very simple combo that players discovered very early on in the game's lifespan. This is what's known as a zero to death, a combo wherein upon achieving a successful neutral interaction can deal damage and end in a finisher strong enough to quite literally take the opponent's stock from zero. Unlike traditional zero to deaths that usually entail at least one or two hard reads, this one was so easy to land and practically impossible to mess up that the community very quickly started to complain about how unfair it was. The combo was notorious enough for Nintendo to go out of their way to impose a change in version 2 that made it so down air was no longer able to ground spike. Despite that, Luigi mains found an alternative way to achieve a zero to death. There was now an opportunity for players to potentially SDI their way out of it, and it also narrowed down the window for Luigi to find his way in, but the deck was still overwhelmingly stacked in favor of Luigi to the point where that self-same down throw, down air, neutral air, down air, up air, or back air into up B can be seen attempted very often even at the highest echelon of play. Over the years, Luigi mains continued to expand and develop his combo game to an almost unhinged extent, finding even more ways for him to screw you over with the single neutral interaction. For example, it's possible to perform that same zero to death, but skip the up air / back air and just land into an up B after the second down air if the opponent is at like 12 to 20%. Now making it so instead of having to be at a hard 0, Luigi mains could perform this combo anywhere between 0 to 20, but that's not the end of it. Thanks to the ludicrously high base knockback of moves like up B and the respectable kill power of back air and down B, guaranteed kill confirms and conversions can be found at practically any percent, raising the death window from 0 to about like 100. In essence, when fighting against Luigi, any neutral loss can result in total annihilation of your stock, irrespective of your character's weight, stage position, rage, most factors that render a character's kill pressure otherwise inconsistent. Bringing us to the first reason why he's one of the most despised characters in the game. Every character has a combo or confirm that can kill you at a much earlier percent than you'd expect them to be able to. The challenge, however, is finding the exact and often hyper-specific scenario required to pull it off. Luigi, on the other hand, has way too generous a window, way too many confirms, and a plethora of ways to set up into them. Now, in defense of Luigi mains, some of the more derivative ones appear more difficult to pull out than they look, so I'll give them credit where it's due. They put in the time to lab and perfect them. But conceptually, Luigi's entire premise is built on the ability to kill you at any percent, devolving the experience of fighting him into basically trying to defuse a bomb with 10 wires, 9 of which cause the explosion, and they constantly change every second. He has so many different ways at so many different percentage windows in so many different scenarios that the safest option his opponent can take is to simply just not interact with him at all, because no matter how much you think you know Luigi, they still somehow find another way to kill you. And it's not even just a tutor's opinion either, even pro players are routinely caught by surprise at what Luigi can pull off. Having mentioned earlier, Luigi has 3 main standoff-ish combos, down B, up B, and back air. Up B in particular possessing knockback strong enough to rival attacks like Finishing Touch, Hatchet Man, or Rest. Luigi's Super Jump Punch is the definition of risk and reward. Missing the move results in a guaranteed free punish by just about any attack in the game. Landing the move can wipe out the opponent's stock as early as 50%. Luigi's Cyclone, on the other hand, has comparatively modest knockback, especially when used on the ground, but oftentimes you'll find Luigi players using it at a very high altitude, making it difficult for players to survive even with good DI. Despite technically having fairly high end lag, the aerial frame 1 invincibility paired with Luigi's ability to move around with it, as well as being a multi-hitter with the wind box, makes it deceptively hard to track where and when you can actually strike him. Last but not least, back air. Having a long-lasting hitbox, a startup of frame 6 or 9 at a shield, being -5 or 6 on shield, but having exceptional knockback and damage. I can't say for certain, but I feel like the sweet spot of this attack is on par with Joker's Arsene back air. At least it gives off that impression. All 3 kill moves can be easily accessed by the rest of Luigi's kit, which is what separates him from other Touch of Death characters, even the more obnoxious ones like Kazuya. Luigi can and will find a way to lead into them. It would simply take far too long to go over each and every one of them, but for example, Luigi's Nair pops targets up right above him, making it easier for him to achieve a simple Nair into up B. He can even also use up tilt to up B, as it too pops opponents right above him. It's even possible to downer spike an opponent below him and lead into a falling up B if they don't manage to tech and get sent right above him. Most of Luigi's normals have minuscule and more importantly predictable knockback, making it super easy for him to find opportunities to destroy you regardless of your percent. However, none of them come quite as close to his most obvious way of finding kill confirms, grab, leading us to the second reason people hate him so much. Luigi's grab is, to put it bluntly, the single best grab in the entire game. You could argue it's Pac-Man's in light of being the only grab that can last long enough to catch us spot dodges, or some other frame 6 grab, but Luigi's grab is arguably the best risk and reward out of any other. At a startup of frame 14, it's by no means the fastest, nor does it have the best range in the game, but being a tether grab, it comes with the Zair, and as you know, Zairs unanimously all have very low end lag. How this benefits Luigi in particular is that unlike other Zairs, whose hitboxes cancel upon landing, Luigi's Zair continues the animation even upon landing, and it comes with the tiny suction cup projectile that detaches at the tail end of it. For all intents and purposes, it's a tether grab, but without the weaknesses of one. Tether grabs typically have very high end lag. Luigi's grab has the same end lag as close range grabs, and he's also the only character to have less end lag when doing a pivot grab. Furthermore, while he can't use Zair to snap the ledge, like I mentioned before, it is a long hitbox with the ability to clank most attacks and projectiles. If you try to challenge him with a grounded approach, he can use the suction cup to put you in clank recoil, then run up immediately with a regular grab. From that point onward, Luigi has access to 3 very strong throw options. Back throw is a straight up kill throw, one of the best in the game in fact. Forward throw is a great throw for simply getting opponents off stage, but down throw may be without question the single best combo throw in the game. I say that because unlike most other down throws which give you very little time to follow up, this one is surprisingly long hit stun and low end lag, enough time to where Luigi, the character with the worst air physics in the game, can run after you, double jump high in the air, and lead into a follow-up. Down throw can true combo into Super Jump Punch, Luigi Cyclone, and Sweet Spot back air, or it can lead into a variety of combos and attacks that will put you at death's door, assuming he didn't manage to shove you through it. Luigi's grab is one of the only grabs in the game that fundamentally overrides the interaction triangle of grab beating shield, shield beating attack, and attack beating grab. Since he can input an instant landing Zair into a regular grab, he essentially beats attack and shield, pushing the risk and reward greatly in his favor. And as per usual, being a tether grab, it comes with many advantages of a tether grab, like being long enough to whiff punish many characters. There's a video made by an actual egg that goes extremely in depth on Luigi's grab and how it's the best grab in the game by a wide margin. Definitely recommend you check it out, as he does a far better job than I do explaining all the reasons that make it a war crime. So, not only does Luigi have so many ways to blow you up in a single interaction, but he also has one of the easiest ways to start that whole cycle in the form of grab. That alone would make a character really frustrating to deal with, but there's still one more reason why everyone hates him. Characters who normally depend on a certain type of kill confirm have a really hard time racking up damage and or scoring kills on you, typically needing to play really well to make up for missing that opportunity. In his defense, Luigi does have trouble killing you normally, but what he doesn't have trouble doing is fighting. Luigi might be in contention for having the mashiest frame data out of the entire roster, potentially even more than Steve and Sheik. All of his attacks, with the sole exception of his specials, forward smash and downer, have single-digit frame data, with most of them also having among the lowest end lag in the game. The extreme speed of his attacks allow him to effectively spam them non-stop, and unlike super speedy characters like Sheik who typically struggle with damage output, Luigi, he does not. A single string of up air trains into back air or some neutral and forward airs can take you from 0 to 60, 70, 80, even 90. In other words, even if you do manage to escape Luigi's kill confirm windows, you're still staring down a guy who can pump out damage on the level of heavyweights. Take your pick, die at a ridiculously early percent, or take a virtually true combo string for damage that begins off a single attack or grab. These factors put together effectively make it so engaging Luigi head-on is simply not a wise choice to make. He is by far one of the best neutral win states in the game. Not neutral game, but neutral win state, in that if you get something going, he'll take you for half your life at worst. It would be no exaggeration to say that his punish game ranks in the top 3 deadliest in Ultimate. A bit of an unpopular opinion, but I actually find Luigi to be even more punishing than Kazuya depending on how you look at it. Probably the main reason I think so is because Luigi can touch of death you on the ground and in the air, whereas Kazuya is almost exclusively on the ground. Having just gone over all the things that make Luigi so one-sided of a character, why is it that throughout Ultimate's tenure he's only ever been seen as a mid-high tier at best? Very simple answer. He bets it all on black. If he gets to play his game, he completely destroys the entire cast. But if he doesn't get to play his game, there's next to no method of recourse for him. Taking a look at this matchup chart made by the best Luigi in the world, what do you notice about the matchups below even? A large number of them can pressure Luigi without having to get really close to him and staying close to him. You have your zoners like Duck Hunt, Samus, Snake, Mii Gunner, Pac-Man, Min the Lynx. You have your mid-range fighters like Shulk, Sephiroth, Sora, Corrin, Byleth, and Cloud. And you got your hidden runners, Sonic, CSS, Inkling, Greninja. These are all fighters who can apply pressure without having to explicitly confront Luigi in a head-on engagement. Having the worst air physics in the game and 2 burst movement options that travel in a linear fashion, Luigi is one of the easiest characters to edgeguard of all time, potentially even easier than the likes of Ganondorf, Lil Mac, and Chrom, not for the poor distance in his recovery, but for the predictability and time it takes for him to get back to stage. Obviously, Cyclone can help out Luigi with juggling, or rather escaping juggles, but in regards to offstage, there's barely anything he can do. The polarity of playing against Luigi only adds more to the frustrating experience because you know how to beat him and most characters can do so. It's not like Steve or Sonic or other top tiers where it's like a -3 or -4 and you just throw your hands up in the air and be like it's a broken character, I guess. Against Luigi, the majority of the roster has enough to beat him. But at the same time, Luigi always has a win condition to beat you too. You can play a +2 matchup against him and still have to respect the fact that he'll nuke your entire stock. Unlike most other bottom tier characters with a cheese combo of their own, Luigi has just enough general tools to make his win condition consistently attainable. He can force you to approach with Fireball and Zair, he can break out of combos and reset back to neutral with Cyclone. He has a great at a shield game, making it difficult for you to pressure him even if you are in a position to do so. The only place in which he doesn't have a way out is in recovery. But to do that, you have to first get him off stage, which means you have to win neutral, which means an opportunity for him to fuck you up. The problem is that such polarity forces you to tailor your playstyle in a way that makes it feel like he's always the one in control of the match. For example, normally when playing Min, it's always you in the driver's seat. You have so much range and pressure from a safe distance, your opponent is the one freaking out about how to beat you or even approach you. But when watching Raru vs Doramigi, I can't help but feel like Doramigi was more scared of Raru than Raru was scared of Doramigi. And it's perfectly understandable why. Luigi's a bomb. He can either be an invincible force of destiny or be one of the worst characters in the game. Hot or cold, but even if it's 80% cold, 20% hot, the hot is so hot you have to respect it. It's basically Russian roulette. That one time you're unlucky or you make a mistake will literally kill you. You can win 5 interactions, but if you lose 1, it's as if those 5 neutral wins never happened. The most terrifying thing is that Luigi's on the rise. We're seeing Luigi players progressively score top placements in the metagame. I'd even argue Luigi mains are performing, on average, better than Mario mains. I would not be surprised at all if in the next tier list for Ultimate they rank him above Mario, especially now that Raru's pushing new heights on the character. To be clear, Snow's doing pretty well on Mario, but I think Raru's pushing a little bit faster. To wrap things up, Luigi is far from a top tier character. His weaknesses are too pronounced to justify putting him anywhere close to it. At the same time, his strengths are so staggering that, depending on the matchup, it makes people have to treat him as if he is a top tier. The overall experience of playing with him is either neutral at best and rage-inducing at worst. But what do you guys think about Luigi? Do you agree or disagree with my points on them? Whichever it is, let me know in the comments down below. I plan to make a Why Everyone Hates Game & Watch next, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, if you enjoyed the video, a like and subscribe would be much appreciated. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Vars, join my Discord server, and check out my other Smash Ultimate discussions if you haven't yet. But till next time, thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.
さあ、繋がったのはドラ右だ。ここでプレッシャーがかかるこの場面で鋼の心臓を持てるかどうかドラ右。崩したいこれは。掴んで決めきるか。決めきった。